Before we begin, this video is based on our own experience with Sons of Sparta and reflects our personal views on what its story offers. As always, we recommend that you make your own informed call by looking into the game yourself and ensuring that it matches your expectations, standards, and personal values. Now with that out of the way, let's begin. At the Agoge, where Spartan warriors are forged through relentless discipline and hardship, a young Kratos begins his brutal training, learning that true strength isn't inherited, but earned through struggle, pain, and the will to rise stronger after every fall. With everything that's happened to the once vengeance-filled monster and demon destroyer, narrowing down the exact moment he became broken is tough. Fortunately, PlayStation and Sony Santa Monica have outlined exactly that with Sons of Sparta, a 2D action side-scrolling prequel to the main series. The story primarily unfolds through an older Kratos, sitting by a tree with his daughter Calliope. Lysandra, her mother, sent her to be punished for ignoring her chores, helping a fellow Spartan named Ismene and saying ugly things. So Kratos deigns to tell her a story from his youth. And spoilers follow for the ending, so be warned. Of course, it's not just Kratos, but his brother Deimos as well, almost inseparable, both as sworn Spartans and family. While the former is committed to Sparta and serving it through thick and thin, the latter chases personal glory. Their world is turned upside down, however, when they learn that Vasilus, a fellow student, has gone missing. Not found in the barracks or at home, nor was he seen leaving the settlement. However, because the Spartans are engaged in border skirmishes, they can't send out any search parties. Ever keen on making a name for himself, Deimos, with Kratos in tow, makes his concerns known to Konstantinos. Surprisingly, he doesn't immediately shoot him down, and it's not long before they surmise that Vasilus would have somehow left through Typhon's Hole, which leads underground and eventually out to the port. Throughout their journey, Kratos and Deimos meet several notable figures. Adrastea, a griffin, the Cryptia, special operatives who patrol the lands, carrying out covert activities and mostly working alone. Is, a well-liked cadet close to Vasilus, is also concerned about the lack of a search and helps cover for Kratos and Deimos while they search for him. They pick up traces of their quarry, who's revealed to have run away from the Spartan life to try other things like cooking, sculpting, music, and more, before getting embroiled in some bad things. Kratos later confesses to Deimos that he would constantly set up Vasilus to fall in their training exercises, never giving him a chance, and just wanting to win. Despite Konstantinos even ordering him to stop the search, they persist. Eventually, the brothers find Vasilus, or, well, what remains of him, slain by Koteros, a cursed chimera who was driven away and knew nothing more than receiving and dishing out pain. How it ultimately met Vasilus is anyone's guess, but he fought against it, sinking an arrow into its eye. Koteros would then attack Kratos and Deimos, who eventually succeeded in defeating it. Placing Vasilus's body on his shield, die with it or on it, as the Spartans say, they carried him back to their village and his parents. Kratos approaches Konstantinos, taking full responsibility for disobeying his orders and lying that he pulled rank to drag Deimos along. He didn't receive any beatings, but his opportunity to command his own unit, thus joining the vanguard, is forfeited until next year. Nevertheless, he acknowledges that he failed Vasilus, that he had an opportunity to make him better and did not. Meanwhile, Deimos meets Amara and confesses that he did it all for glory, until he saw Vasilus dead. While expressing some measure of disappointment, Amara tells him that he's now facing the truth. Together with Kratos, they return Vasilus's coat to Amara, daughter of Konstantinos, and reveal his courage in the face of the Koteros. Back in the present, Kratos asks Calliope about the meaning of duty, to which she responds that it keeps changing. When asked what it means to her, she explains that it is about doing what she believes is right, even when it appears questionable or misunderstood from the outside. While telling the story, Kratos was busy carving something, a flute, with Calliope admiring him for learning to love music, which he admits is more appreciation than love. After receiving the gift, she asks if she's still being punished. Kratos reminds her of what she had done wrong, and she says it was worth it. Obviously, there's plenty of additional post-game content to complete, but it's interesting to see all of the connections to other games. Those lightning orbs to defeat the Koteros were clearly launched by Zeus. Ironic considering how he would ultimately betray him. Ys is actually Atreus, who intervenes after a particularly rough fight to save Kratos and Deimos. Even Calliope is aware of Atreus of Sparta. It's also worth noting the melody that Calliope plays on the flute. The very same would resurface in Chains of Olympus, and ultimately led him to her soul, though unfortunately it meant losing her once more. Then there's Krypteia, whose order fights with utmost brutality and tells Kratos that it's not enough to defeat your enemies. Krypteia insists that they must be taught a harsh lesson, made to understand that defying Sparta carries devastating consequences, and that such ruthlessness is, in his view, necessary. And while Deimos says he can see the advantage of overwhelming an enemy, what about burning villages or striking from the shadows? When questioning whether this was truly fair, the Krypteia dismisses the idea of fairness on the battlefield, arguing that war is not a game with rules or referees. What matters is survival, and that can mean taking advantage available, attacking first, attacking without warning, and doing whatever it takes to ensure that the enemy does not get back up. When you think about how Kratos would go on to fight, absolutely slaughtering his opponents both before and after obtaining the Blades of Chaos, it all slowly falls into place. Granted, this would have been a lesson he learned through dozens of his own battles and skirmishes, but you have to think that this conversation is ultimately what tipped him over the edge and influenced his brutal combat style. As for Deimos, you probably noticed some familiar markings on the left side of his body and face. This caused Athena and Ares to kidnap him, fearing that he was the warrior that would inevitably bring them to ruin. Interestingly, Kratos attempted to save his brother, causing Ares to attack and scar his right eye. Deimos would be tortured by Thanatos, and though Kratos saved him in Ghost of Sparta, he was killed. Kratos would bury his brother next to their mother, Callisto, and vowed vengeance against Olympus. It's worth noting that in Sons of Sparta, Kratos revealed how much Calliope reminded him of Deimos in ways that he could never have dreamed. In the end, he acknowledges that this may not be the story that his daughter was expecting. However, it was told because for Kratos, Sparta is more than just a place. It's a code. He describes a life defined by hardship and repetition, enduring loss, pushing forward, and returning to the fight no matter how many times it breaks them down. Given how things ultimately ended for Kratos, you can't help but feel this is a sordid reminder of things to come, how his dedication to Sparta would ultimately lead to a personal tragedy. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Vault, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.